everyone, this is Tina with Tiaza's Treasures, and today I have for you the August 2022 Hero Arts monthly kit. Now this kit comes with the mesh bag that holds everything. It comes with 4 Heroes Use ink color, caramel, sand, pine, and tangerine. It comes with a thing of bronze, kind of looks like bronze mica powder of some sort, or a pearlescent. I'm gonna get it open. See the sparkle there? Ooh, pretty. And let's see, we have our little card that tells us this is going to be a desert scene of some sort. Very pretty. We also, this card tells us what's in the kit. We have these 5 sheets of white watercolor paper. They are 5.5 by 8.5. So if you scored them, they would be like A2 card base size. We have a stamp set with a bunch of different sentiments. Adventure awaits, have a safe journey, be wild and free, good luck on your journey, I miss you, I believe in you, wish you were here. So they have to do like with travel. Enjoy your trip, bon voyage, you are my oasis. Could be come in handy. And lastly, we have 4 stencils and the dies that cut the stencils out. They cut out the background of the stencil along with some desert plants. I don't know if I can show you these stencils, if you'll be able to see them, but basically it is a desert-like scene. Can you see that anywhere? Where are we gonna? The other 3 are basically your shading and different things like that. But that's basically what that is. So I am going to be hard pressed to come up with a lot of different scenes with this. I don't know, we'll do our best. But I also got a few add-ons. I got an add-on of the fancy dies that are luggage, and little globe and luggage tags. So we're going to use that for one. We also got a stamp set that has sentiments, but they look like old-fashioned signs. This one says, "Congrats, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a simple step." I've seen old restaurants that have ones that look like that. Hello, old bowling alley that's got a sign like that. Yeah, so the journey is better with you. So it's some fun little stuff. I didn't get the dies from these because if you look at the angles on here, I thought it would be really easy to cut this out. So why not save myself some money? And lastly, I got this bold cling stamp with a bunch of background road signs. So I kind of had an idea of what to do with this and these 2 more than I did the actual kit this month. So we will see. So let's go make some cards. So for this first card, we are going to do a slimline. I've got a panel here that is 3.5 by 8.5. I'm gonna have to cut it down a little bit just on the sides, but anyhow, we are going to start by using the inks that came in the kit. The 4 inks, the caramel, the pine, the tangerine, and whatever that 4th color is. It escapes me at the moment. I think I have it right here. I should look. I should be more prepared for these things. And the 4th color is sand. So anyhow, we are using all 4 colors on this card. I had to do a little bit of finagling to get this to work. As you can see, I am putting the cactus and the stuff underneath the stencil, and then I'm flipping it so we can get it long enough for the slimline. So this turns out pretty good. I do end up getting some ink in some spots I don't want to, but with what I end up doing, I end up being able to fix everything. So as you can see, I am taping down my stencil to my waffle flower stencil mat. I believe it's a stencil mat. And we're just getting everything inked. It looks pretty splotchy right now, but as it dries, it calms down a whole lot. Now, I don't have these stencils like, you know, all lined up when I'm using them, because that would not work. That would be kind of bad. Now here I'm kind of trying to figure out a few things to make sure it's going to work right. You can see I did leave one little cactus there, and I am going to end up putting a big cactus right in the middle there when we're done. But for now, I am lining up the detail layer, and I should have masked off those clouds, because I do end up getting a little bit of ink, brown ink, where those clouds are. But like I said, we end up fixing it afterwards. So that was just me not being perfect. Not paying close enough attention to, I really need to mask these off. I thought I would not mess them up. You can see where I got the ink in the two different spots. Like I said, I fixed that. And here I am just double checking that our cactus is fine where it's at. Not sure. I think, oh yeah, I'm bringing in the green for the cactus right now. I thought maybe I did that later, but no. I skipped ahead while I did the other side without you seeing it, because why do you need to see me do it all? We'd be here all day. And we are just inking up our cactus. Now we only have the one green color, so when we go in with the detail layer here, we're using the same pine ink, but because we're going over it, it actually works fine. Even though it is the same color, it is darker. It's like magic. And now I just love this cactus that we put in the middle here. I end up getting a little bit of green ink off to the side of the one mountain, because again, I should have masked it. Now you can see I've got some post-it notes that are masking off my little mountains, because I'm going to go in. You've seen curls there, my gray curls. Just a quick glimpse, but I'm going to go in with the tangerine color, and I'm going to do a bunch of clouds. Now, I am not using the clouds. I believe I don't use the clouds that are on the right side of the stencil. I just end up putting clouds all over the place with this one cloud right here. And I even flip it upside down to give it a little bit of a different look. You'll see that momentarily. But I'm just putting clouds all over the place. See, upside down. I figured, why not? You know, I debated about using the other clouds, but for whatever reason, I just liked this particular cloud, and I used it for all of my clouds. And now we're going to bring in the sun. And I just, you know, this tangerine just really reminded me of a very hot desert sky. This particular sky is pretty stark with the white, and you're going to see in my next card that I end up doing a sky with some color, but you know, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're still putting in some clouds here and there, and I love all the clouds in the sky. I love the way this card turned out. I think this is the last cloud we're going to do. And now I am going to move on to the sentiment. So I look at all the sentiments kind of in this kit, and there's a bunch of them, And I decided I liked the first one I saw, which was Adventure Awaits. So I'm going to stamp that out, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut that down, and we are going to put it over the green ink spot that I accidentally made, which is why I don't really try to figure out where to put the sentiment. I figure we're just going to use it to fix our card. So I got this all mounted up there. Like I said, we cut down the one side a little bit. You can see it on the left side of the card where we cut down. I think that's the left, or no, maybe the right. We cut down, yeah, we cut down the peak, so we cut the right side of the card. You can see where I was doing some estimating on the back of it with the pencil line there, trying to make sure that it would work and we would get in, be able to do the two sides of the mountains there. And I did pop up our sentiment. So I've got a piece of foam tape behind there, and we're just plopping it down. Adventure Awaits, and that's it for card number 1. I think this turned out really great. I'm kind of proud of it, just because. Now moving on to card number 2. This is this card I had a few issues with here and there. There goes my dogs again. I think they don't bark nonstop like you would think if you listen to my videos. It's just every time I'm in here, I think they take it as an opportunity. In here, I say my craft room. They take it as an opportunity to start barking. And Mom's not here. Let's go upstairs and bark at everything in the window. Dummies. So for this card, I am using all Hero inks, and you can see my tape right there. It's got some dog bites on it because if it falls on the floor, my little dog thinks it's his, and so I had to take it away from him, and it was still usable. So this is the caramel color. I'm starting with that, and I've got that inked up, and now I am moving on to, I believe I move on to the root beer color. Now this card, I do use the stencils like they were made. I use them in order, but I'm using different colors because I do end up doing the sky and in order. That's why I've got these clouds masked off, because I'm going to come back to them later. So I use a little root beer here and I get my detail in. And now I am coming in with some green colors. And I use these two, moss, and I believe it is, I can't see it right now. I think you might have been able to read it, but I forget what I used. Garden Hills, I think, or Green Hills. So I start with the Green Hills, and that's going to be my lighter color. And again, I could have went back in like we did with the pine on the first card to darken it up. But I'm going to use the moss afterwards. And I'm still using the tangerine for the sun. I think it's a nice desert sun color. Now I believe we're going to go in with our detail for our cactus and use this moss. We just have to line it up again. Get everything nice in the corner there. And I thought about originally using some Simon Says saturated inks, but I figured we're doing a Hero Arts card. We'd use Hero Arts inks. You know, I have a lot of these inks just from previous card kits. And now I don't like the way that it is so stark white on the bottom there, because we are going to be coloring up the sky. I use a little bit of this sand color, just what's on my brush, and you know, I started with what was on my brush, and then I lightly brushed over my white areas to get rid of that starkness. And now I'm moving stuff out of the way because I need to make some masks. Now you're going to see me start making the sun mask. I just take a pencil and I outline everything I need. And then I'm going to make masks for the mountains as well. I ended up having that off camera, so out of visual range, so to speak. So I didn't show myself tracing that, but you can see where I've got the mask. And I'm going to start with this Rose Madder ink. It was one of the first inks I got from Hero Arts, and it didn't have the color on it, so I just had to label it myself. And I'm going in with some, I believe it's Lemon Drop, because I want a little halo around the sun. Now, I was wishing that I had a hero die that would cut out that sun, but one was too big and one was too small, and the mask that I cut out is just a little bit too small as well. And I don't know why, but it is. So I'm also using some Blue Hawaii on the top and some soft purple. So those are my sky colors. I've got this way sped up. I think maybe 8 times sped up. It's pretty quick. I wanted to let you see what I did without having to be here all day. And now for the fun part. We are going to peel this off. And we have our sun there, and it almost looks a little, I don't know. I wanted a little bit more ink. Something looked a little off, so I just put a little bit more around it very softly, whatever was on my brush. And now we're pulling off these mountains. I didn't save the mask because it was kind of messed up. Now, if you notice, you can see I've got some white areas where my mask was not cut perfectly. Now, you could probably go back in and do another mask or do something if you were a perfectionist. I'm not a perfectionist. I'm like, that's good enough-ist. So I thought I was trying to get some pink to see if that would fix it, but it did not. And I go in and I almost ruined the card trying to fix this white because it really was driving me crazy. And instead of taking blender brushes, I took some Copic markers and I used them to try to cover up my white spots there. But the Copic marker that I chose was a little bit too dark. Now, I could have avoided that too if I would have brought in my swatches, but I didn't. I didn't do that till later because I wasn't thinking. But right now, I'm thinking I could live with the white spots, which I can't. And I get a couple sentiments that say, wish you were here, because that's what we're going to end up putting on this card. I'm still kind of thinking, okay, we can make this work. And I'm putting this card on a craft cardstock card base. And I'm trying to decide if I want the white or the brown. It's not exactly the same color brown as the craft cardstock, but it's close enough. And so I do end up using the brown one. I like that better. And I pop that up on a little bit of foam tape. I think I pop up all my sentiments today on all my cards. And I center this on the top of the card. It could have looked good in all sorts of places, but for whatever reason, I just wanted it at the top. And here is where I go in with these markers and almost kind of ruin it. Now, I didn't just want to do the white spots. I knew that wouldn't look right, so I kind of did a little bit of highlights here and there on these mountains. And after that was done, I didn't like the way it looked. I probably should have stopped right away when I noticed I didn't like it. But, in for, what's the saying? I don't even know. There's lots of sayings. So it just escapes me at the moment. And so I color that up. And then I'm going to take a lighter color that matches the mountains a little bit better. There we go. You can see my curls again. And I try to blend out some of that brown that I just put on these mountains. And after everything kind of dries and it has a good chance to soak in, it doesn't look as bad as it does at this particular moment where I'm like, oh no, I ruined my card after all of that. I'm still not a huge fan of it, but at least I would not be embarrassed to send this card out now. You know, if you watch me, I give you the good along with the bad. I could have just scrapped this entire card and did it over, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna show my viewers when I mess up, because I'm sure I'm not the only one who does stupid things when I'm card making. Anyway, that was card number 2. Now for card number 3, I took all these dies. I didn't even bother cutting them apart because I knew I was going to use everything but the globe and the luggage tag. And I cut them out with a cardstock that was slightly darker than the cardstock I'm going to use on the card itself. And I am going to use tone on tone, and I am going to stamp out that big background stamp, and I'm going to stamp that right on my card front. Now I did bring in my little swatches and my of inks so I could see what matched the best. And it ended up being a Simon Says saturated, positively saturated ink. I think it's Field. Now, once it's on this card back, it looks a lot darker than I thought it was going to look. But it is tone on tone, trust me. And so we get that. I think it actually took me 2 times to stamp it, 2 or 3, but I'm only showing you the one. And by the magic of editing, we're done. And so that's our card base. And I like the way that looks. And so I got that cut down. And I am going to take these dies and I start coloring them brown eventually. I don't know what we're waiting for. Maybe Christmas. Oh, nope. I'm showing you my little swatches there. Now, these are not very good. They're not professional. I've seen so many people do nice swatches. And one day I'm thinking of redoing them. But for now, that's what I've got. So anyway, I start by taking a brown Copic. And I color in the handle. And I cut, and that's when I remembered, oh, I've got a silver Nouveau marker, alcohol marker. And so I bring that in and I do all my clasps and some of the handles that look like they're metallic, because if you've ever had old luggage, sometimes they're a mix of leather and metal. And that's what I'm trying to do with these markers. So I do metal on the clasps and anywhere I think it looks like we should have metallic. And then I bring in my dark marker for anywhere that I think might have a little bit of leather. Some of the handles look like they would be leather. Some of them look like metal. There did look like there was some leather stitching on some of these suitcases. And there's definitely some leather straps on one of the suitcases that I colored in brown. And that is E29 I'm using. The metallic Nouveau marker is just 505. It's called Satin Silver. And I also end up bringing in green G28. And what I do with that is I just outline all the sides of my luggage. You're going to see I just go around all 4 sides just to kind of give it a little bit of definition so it stands out when we glue it down. Now here I am. I'm just, like I said, going around the sides. I'm not really trying to get it to so it stands out. And I think it does add a little bit of definition. I don't know if you'll be able to tell on the video, but if you're looking for it, you can see it. So I end up bringing in some foam tape on these. Right now, I'm just trying to just make sure that everything fits where we want it. Get that all squared away. I originally, you might see I moved these suitcases all off to the side because I think I might put the top little round hat box. I think it's a hat box. I think I might put that to the side, but I just think that looks a little hokey, and all these suitcases do fit on an A2 card. So I just stick them all up and I put them in the middle of the card when it comes time to glue. So I'm trying to figure out what sentiment I want to use, and I picked enjoy your trip. I mean, with all these suitcases and luggage, you must be going somewhere, or your spouse just kicked you out because you're an awful partner. So I bought some value foam mounting tape from the dollar store, and that's what I just opened here. And I didn't realize how bad it was on the first couple stamps, but as soon as I really started trying to cut it in half to put it on the smaller ones, it was sticking to everything. My fingers, the scissors, I mean, it just was impossible to work with. So don't buy this. And it's a flatter tape, so I was able to use some flat foam squares for some of the smaller pieces of luggage, and that's what you're seeing there. I've got everything. I've got the release paper already off all of these, so I'm just picking them up and placing them on the card. And I'm loving the way that they're stacking up. I did put glue on the first one because I wanted to make sure that I got it down, because if I would have messed up at all, I was not going to be able to move it. This tape is very, very sticky, and which is another reason that I'm using the little tweezers, the reverse tweezers, because I want to make sure I'm seeing where I'm putting stuff. And now for this last little piece here, our little topper on our cake of our luggage cake. It's kind of what it looks like. We're going to put down enjoy your trip, which we stamped on some of the brown cardstock again. And again, we're using craft cardstock for this particular card. I just thought it worked best with the green. Don't ask me why I picked green. I was originally thinking red for the luggage, but I just thought green might be more of a luggage color. So this is it for card number 3. Now I do need a sentiment on the inside, which I will probably do. Now for card number 4, I was thinking retro. And so I thought for some really retro colors, we would do orange and blue. Now I think it might end up being just a little bit tacky, but we're gonna do it. You know, what the heck, we're going for it. Now we're using this background stamp again. It's still in my Misty, all clean. And I brought in some surf colored ink. I also brought in some ocean in case the surf wasn't dark enough, but the surf was dark enough in the end. And again, I'm not going to show myself stamping this multiple times, but it did take 3 stamps, and afterwards I was second guessing myself, wondering if I should have gone for a 4th time. But when everything got really dry, it evened itself out. But you can see it looks pretty blotchy there still. But it looked like it was full coverage, so I took it out. And I am going to use the orange cardstock for our sentiment. Now I'm using the sentiment hello, the one that kind of reminded me of a bowling sign, and I'm going to heat emboss that. I used the VersaFine black onyx ink, and so I wanted to make sure it didn't smear, so that's why I heat embossed it with clear embossing powder over that. And I forgot to use my static bag, but because we were doing clear, we didn't need it. And you saw me shaking my hand looking like a fool there, but it worked out. So we'll get this all nice and heat embossed. Boom, magic, all done. And I'm just going to cut it out in a rectangle instead of actually fussy cutting it out. And I'm still kind of wondering if that doesn't look a little bit, I don't know, tacky. But, you know, back when these colors were popular, everything looked a little tacky, so we're just going to go with it. And here is where I make my little stick person with a big thumbs up because they like this video and they liked this card. And I am mounting this on a black piece of cardstock, or a black card base, I guess you would say, because I just think the black goes better with the blue than white would for some reason. I mean, we've got the black Heat and Boss sentiment, so why not a black card base? And I use some different foam tape to pop up the sentiment. And we're going to center that on the card. And I'm actually using my T-ruler to make sure I get it straight for a change. And that's why I'm putting the glue on here to make sure if I screw up, I still have a little bit of wiggle room. So if you enjoyed listening to me today and watching me make these 4 cards, please, please, please hit the thumbs up, just like my little stick man, and or subscribe if you're not a subscriber. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, hi, I'm glad you're back. So anyhow, I decided this card needed a few little more things, and I brought in some copper colored sequins. And I just start dropping them on the card. And I kind of said, these are kind of random. I kind of like the way they're looking. I do move them a little bit. And they've kind of got that little bit of an arrow look going now, which again is kind of retro. So I'm going to glue these down. And it's going to be my 4 cards. And, you know, this video has a lot cut out of it because it took me a long time working on these babies. But in the end, I think they turned out pretty good. So anyhow, let me know which one you like. Let me know if you like any of them. Let me know what you think about card number 4. And is it tacky or do you like it? So I am so glad you're here. And that's card number 3. And I'm finally going slow enough for everybody to see the cards. I think I had a habit sometimes of moving too quick at the end. And now here is our last card. So anyhow, that's it. Bye-bye for now.